Okay, number next is a critically important function in Atlas Martial Arts software, where we're looking at our agreements. We're looking at managing the contracts and the billing for students and being able to enter those on the system. So we're going to go to the sign up button up here at the top. Again, these are shortcuts to the most commonly used functions. If you click sign up, you'll end up on the agreement form page. This is creating a new agreement. You'll find that we look at the way Atlas thinks about running a highly successful martial arts school is that in some cases you're going to want to see students and contracts differently, students and agreements differently. In some cases you're going to want to know how many active students you have. In other cases you're going to want to know how many active agreements that is and what are the value of these agreements and what does that look like, right? So we give you the flexibility and the functionality to be able to look at them separately and treat them separately in many cases. So this is a very important benefit for us. I want to know that I have 294 active students, active people on the floor, but I also want to know that equates to 240 active agreements because some are family members, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what this is going to look like. The agreement is sort of the cornerstone, the centerpiece of managing your students inside the system, especially as it applies to billing. So you'll notice in our agreement form, we're going to kind of step you through it, kind of step by step. But you'll also notice that we've given you a lot of shortcuts. And I'm going to go the long way through the form, and then I'm going to point out the shortcuts as we go, okay? And you'll get more comfortable with these shortcuts as you go. And you'll find that filling out an agreement is, once you get sort of used to it and once you get used to some of the shortcuts, you can make it very quick and easy. So let's go ahead and start filling this one out. This is the buyer information. So obviously the buyer is the person who's responsible for the membership, the credit card holder, the payment method provider, whatever the case might be. So let's put in Sally Jones as our buyer. And you can put in the date of birth. This is not required. All the yellow fields are required. The white ones are not typically. You can put in the date of birth for Sally Jones. Sometimes buyers don't want to give you their date of birth. We totally understand that. But you want to make sure certainly that they're legal to contract, right? So let's say that this person was born 1974. So now obviously that person would be legal to enter an agreement with you. Gender, male, female. This is helpful for targeting them later, especially by automated messaging and things like that. The address. Obviously, we fill in the address. Now, the zip code lookup is another shortcut field. So if I just type in the zip code, let's do 90210. It'll automatically go and find Beverly Hills, California 90210, right? So all you have to do is type in the zip code, and it automatically populates city, state, and zip. And it's just, again, kind of a quick feature for you. We also set the country code to your country, your default country. If you're a Canadian school, it'll be set to Canada. If you're a U.S. school, it'll be set to U.S. If you're outside the North America, this will be set to your native country. That way, everything else in the address fields will populate with the stuff that's specific to your country. Obviously, Canadian zip codes are different than U.S. zip codes. Phone numbers in Asia are different than phone numbers in the U.S., et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that little zip code lookup is a very cool speed feature. I can add the contact information, obviously the cell phone number, and then I'm also going to give you the opportunity to opt in or not opt in. You want to make sure if you're opting people into your text messaging that you've got authority to do that. I would recommend that you have written authority. Put it in your terms and conditions so that when your students are signing their contract, signing their membership, you have written proof that you can text message them. Cell phone, home phone, work phone, obviously, so we give you at least 3 phone fields. We have more actually on the way. We can put in their email address. I should mention, by the way, the phone number fields are yellow, meaning required, but we actually only require that you have one of them. So you have to have some contact information there, some phone number required. And then buyer as a student. We'll get to that shortcut in just a moment here. So we'll come back to buyer as a student, but let's go back to the top for just a moment. Now you saw that I manually filled all this stuff in, right? And that's totally fine. That's the way in many cases you're going to do it. But if this person is already in my database, if they're already in as a student or as a buyer or as a prospect, I can use the information I already have on file for them. So for example, this is an existing buyer. If I click select an existing buyer, it'll give me a list, and I can look through here. I can use my search button up here, and I can look for Jones. And look, there's Mike Jones and Tom Jones. That's not who I'm looking for, but let's pretend it was. If Mike Jones is who I was looking for, I could just click Mike Jones, and it'll automatically populate all this information as the person who's the buyer. Does that make sense? And I can also do the same thing with an existing prospect. So if that person's already in your system, you don't have to type their information again. In fact, I recommend you don't. Use one of these functions and you'll be able to fill all this information in literally in one click. So let's go back here to buyer is also a student. In some cases, the person who's responsible for the agreement, maybe Mrs. Jones, is signing herself up for lessons, in which case you simply set this to yes. And now you don't have to put in another student if you don't want to. If you want to add another student to this agreement, you can do that here, but you don't have to. If Mrs. Jones is signing herself up, you select buyer as a student, done deal, you don't have to do any more work, you're good. If she's not the student, if there's another student, for example, a child, then you just leave this to no, and then you fill in the student information, right? So you can do it either way. You have the flexibility to do it any way you like, but this again is another shortcut. If you are signing up someone who is both the buyer and the student, you simply say yes, and you're off to the races. So let's pretend no for now. So now let's go to the student information. And again, I'm also giving you the select existing student or select existing prospect shortcuts. If you want to use that, you can certainly do that if the person's already in your system. So again, this makes it very quick and easy. But for now, let's not. Let's say little Johnny Jones is the student. And his date of birth is, I don't know, December of 2008, and he's a male. Okay, so here's another little shortcut. If Johnny Jones, lives in the same house and has the same contact information as the buyer, in this case Sally Jones, you can just click this button, use the buyer contact information, and it'll automatically fill all that stuff in for you. So again, here's my 123 Anywhere Street, and I'm in Beverly Hills, California, 90210. So again, little shortcut there, makes it very easy to fill out the form, quickly. And that's it. Okay, so let's go down. Let's just pretend all the information, phone information is all the same, email's the same, etc. Now I'm going to select the program. Maybe he's in the beginner program, the kickboxing program, whatever it might be. So I'm going to go ahead and select, I don't know. Let's do ASP for after school. And then your style and rank you're going to assign to that student. So let's say he's in karate and he's a first rank in karate. Then hit next. Now this is the course information. And the course information, again, is very granular. We give you the ability to customize your course pretty much any way that you could imagine. Over 15 years of doing this in the software solution business, you come across all sorts of different permutations that we have to predict for, and we've predicted for them here. So agreement type is either regular, trial, or AMS Kids. A regular agreement is any kind of a typical agreement, whether it's a master club, a black belt club, or a regular student enrollment. A trial agreement is an agreement just like any other, but it's specifically marked as a trial, like an intro. This is someone who perhaps is just trying out your program, isn't quite on a full membership. This is so that you can track your trials separately from your regular students. So I recommend that if you're using any kind of a trial lesson or any kind of an introductory program, you select trial. AMS Kids is specifically designed for the after-school program student. And if you assign all of your after-school program students to the AMS Kids agreement type, then that means they're tracked separately. And at the end of the year, when many states issue child care tax credits to parents who are using the child care system service, and this will then segment that list so that you can. We'll actually generate the paperwork for you and send you those documents if you request them as well. So using the AMS Kids agreement type is for after school programs. So for right now, let's just use regular. The agreement date, that's the date that you're filling out the agreement. Could be today, could be a couple days ago, could be a couple days from now, whatever you want. But that's the agreement that you're completing the agreement. The date that you're completing the agreement. Course duration, this is how many of these. So is this 12 months? Is it 12 weeks? Whatever it is. So let's say this is a 12-month agreement. So I put in 12 for the duration, and I select months. You can also do, obviously, years, weeks, classes, days. Months is the most common, so we select month by default here for you. Course start date. So this is when the student is supposed to be starting their course. And this does not affect the payments. This is just about their course tracking. So I'm going to say that their course starts, let's say, I don't know, Monday, right? So now it automatically does the math for me. You see the course end date is now automatically set 12 months from my course start date. So if I change either one of these, you'll see that the math works the other way as well. So we're helping you, again, fill this out very quickly by doing the math for you and filling in these variables. The fee information. Now this, again, is separate from the course information. So if, for example, you have someone who maybe is prepaying for a membership that doesn't start for 6 months, or someone is paying for a membership that started a few months ago, you have the flexibility to set this up any way you could think of. So let's look at the fee information. Total course fee. If you want to put in the total course fee, you can do that. Instead, if you want to put in the number of payments at a certain amount, you can do that as well. However you want to do it, our system will do the math for you. But let's say, for example, I know the total course fee. I know that I charge $200 a month and it's a 12-month course, so my total course fee is going to be $2,400. We also have a little fee calculator shortcut here. If you've set up your programs in the school setup area, you'll see that they'll be listed here, and the total course fee, the monthly course fee, will be over here, and you can click that and it'll populate into that box if you like. Some people love that feature. Others just basically put in the total course fee, make it easy. Service charge. If you want to charge some type of a service charge, for example, maybe you have a $200 service charge that gets added onto the total of the agreement that you charge extra if people use a credit card instead of an ACH, or maybe if they pay monthly instead of paid in full, whatever the case is. So you control that however you like. Down payment amount. Do you want to subtract any down payment from this total $2,400? So let's say, yes, it's $2,400 total, but they pay me a $100 down payment today. Let's say a $200 down payment today. Now that only leaves $2,200 to be collected, right? Well, you'll see that we're already doing the math for you over here. We're running this total as you're filling this in. So we're making sure that all this is going to add up for you. Okay, so let's say they made a $200 down payment today. How the down payment is collected? Well, I took that at the school. I don't need AMS to collect that for me. I took the down payment today over the counter, so don't worry about collecting that. Do I also want to give them a discount while they're here today? If I give them a $100 discount, you'll see that, again, it will take it off the total payment due, the total tuition due here. But let's say not for today. Okay, now how many payments? The number of payments. Again, separate from course date, course duration. You might have a 12-month course, but maybe there's only 6 payments. Maybe they pay that off in 6 payments. Maybe they use 12 payments. Whatever the case is, totally up to you. However your program works. I'm going to make this an even number up here just so it makes it easy for you to be able to see the math. So let's say it's 8 payments, 8 monthly payments. So that means we've already done the math for you. It's going to be a $300 payment. When does the payment start? Now this, again, is important. You can set this differently than the course, right? Again, the course date might start, I don't know, next month, but I want the payments to start today, whatever the case might be. Okay, so it's up to you. So I'm going to put in the date of the first payment. Let's say I want it to start on December 5th. That's when I want their first payment to be. So our system, if you're using full service billing, our system is going to get this, and we're going to set up 8 payments of $300 that start on January 5th. That's what you just told us. Late fee, we require that you instantiate a $20 late fee. You don't have to charge it, but we require that as a minimum for our service fees. You do or don't have to honor that when students are making payments, but we require that as a required field so that we have something to go on. It's totally optional, totally up to you though. And then billing information, how are they going to pay for this membership? Are you going to have AMS collect this? And if so, what type of a payment method are you going to submit? So let's say we have AMS collecting this, and we're going to submit a credit card information. So we'll do credit card information here, expiration date of, let's say, 12/2020. And then again, in the credit card holder's information, you can quickly use the buyer's information. If you just click that button, it'll automatically fill that in for you again, saving you a bunch of time. So, make sense? So again, just keep in mind that your course information and your payment information can be different if you want them to be. They don't have to be, but we give you that flexibility. It's something very important to schools who have different terms. And then hit next. I have 2 sections for comments. This agreement comments are for the member. So this might be, maybe you have special terms with this particular buyer. Maybe you've made a special arrangement with them or something like that. You can type that in here. I don't know, cancelable. Let's just say something like, if you want to add another family member, you'll qualify for a 50% discount or something like that, right? So these are notes that your member is going to see on their agreement. The notes down here is billing information for AMS. So for example, if you made a mistake in the agreement or something like that and you wanted us to collect a down payment, or maybe you want the payment start date to start on the 5th, but you want us only to take half of the first payment or something like that, you can put that in there. Please collect 1/2 of the first payment on 1/5/2017 and the other half on, let's say, 1/12/2017. Something like that. And then AMS will get these notes and follow your instructions thusly. Now, this is a review of the agreement, and this says agreement looks good. What that means is all the dates make sense, the payment totals make sense, everything makes sense for submitting this agreement to AMS. Sometimes you'll see little yellow check marks in here if some data doesn't match up. So for example, if the course information, if the course starts in the past, maybe I made a mistake and I data entered the wrong payment, right? Then this is going to let you know, I'm sorry, the wrong date. The system's going to let you know, hey, you know what? You said 2015. You might have really meant 2016. You might want to go check this, right? Or if, for example, the payment start date is in the past, things like that. We're going to detect a bunch of these things and we're going to let you know about that. So right now it says everything looks good, so I should be good to go. Hit next, and now you'll see a preview of the physical document, the document that the student is going to be able to sign, if you choose to print it out. If not, they can sign it right here on like an iPad or on your computer. You can just give them the mouse and they can sign it right there. Hit save, and now once this agreement saves, this is now saving it and submitting it to AMS, if that's what you chose in the how to collect the tuition. So now you have a physical document that you can print off and give to the member. It includes their signature. It includes your signature as well if you set that up in your school setup area. You can print this off and give them their copy. You can print off a copy and keep for your records, whatever the case might be. And then you also get a little review here of all the details. This is the agreement summary after the fact, so that you can see what you submitted to AMS or submitted in the agreement. Make sense? So again, there are a lot of options and there are a lot of little shortcuts, but keep in mind that you can move through this agreement very quickly. We went very slow today so you can understand each individual field, but with the little shortcuts that we've added to the agreement form, you can move through this in about a minute. And it's very, very useful for you to be able to submit these agreements quickly and easily. So I really appreciate your time. Thanks so much. I hope that's useful for you, and please let me know if anything's unclear or if we can expand on this in any way. Thank you very much. See you soon.